What's up, guys? It's Mandi,
It's Wanda,
It's Clara.
and this is the Two Girls, One Bar podcast.
your strength sport podcast for the girls.
Welcome back to the podcast, you guys. We're excited because we have a Wisconsin guest today, and we love having some more Wisconsin girlies on the podcast. So, welcome, Clara, to the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh my gosh, we're so pumped. Do you want to give people just like a super brief intro as to who you are, and then we'll kind of dive into all the good stuff?
Yeah, so I am a competitive strongman. I've been in the sport for like 3 years now. I have some history of powerlifting, and then I also competed collegiately in cross country and track. And recently just opened up my own kind of private strongman gym with my fiancé. So that opened up in January, and we're promoting our first strongman show this coming June.
That's
That's
so cool.
awesome.
That's awesome. We love like local competitions, and also just like women owning businesses is also always great. Um
Yeah.
I'm I'm always curious, like you said you ran first, and you ran in college. Were you always a runner, like even as a kid? Like was that always the sport, or did you kind of do everything growing up and then fell into running?
Yeah, so I actually grew up a very chunky child. I didn't get into like sports until I think it was like middle school. I kind of dabbled in volleyball, basketball. And then I did start running, I think it was like seventh grade. And that's kind of when I like noticed like my body composition was changing because I was being more active. So got into running, late middle school, and then I did join cross country in high school. So I did like volleyball and cross country together. Um, and then it was up until it was like my senior year of high school is when there was like this private powerlifting gym that opened up right next to our high school. And so I started going there with a friend, and the owners competed in powerlifting. And I had done some lifting in high school, just nothing like structured. And the owners of the powerlifting gym, they saw a lot of potential in me and they asked if I'd be interested in doing powerlifting, and I had not even known what powerlifting was. So I remember like that night I went home and I was like Googling powerlifting while I'm laying in bed. I'm like, what even is this?
Uh-huh.
Um,
Yeah.
and so then I kept going to that gym and I told them, yeah, like I would love to try it out. If you're willing to teach me, I'm willing to learn. And funny enough, I had been doing track also at the same time in high school, and I was trying so hard to make it to state, and I was always like one place short of qualifying. And so the powerlifting owners of that gym, they're like, well, there is state for powerlifting. And I'm like, okay. And I ended up doing a competition within like a month or two, and I qualified for state. I got second at my first powerlifting meet.
Yay.
That's
And like
awesome.
2 months later, it was the state meet, and I ended up getting fourth at the state meet. So I'm like, this
That's
is really
awesome.
cool. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like I always tried so hard to like be at that high level, and little had I known you could do it outside of the sports in high school.
Yeah, yeah. It's so interesting when I mean you're younger than me, but it's so interesting when like girls and women like find a strength sport like slightly earlier. I feel like high school is such a significant time in our lives,
Yeah.
no matter who you are. So to find a strength sport then, do you feel like I mean, and running and powerlifting are pretty opposite ends of the spectrum when it comes to the training, I mean, everything really.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that changed how you compete, changed how you train, changed how you even like mentally, like how you think about yourself? Because I feel like it's so different.
Yeah, so I feel like the running, because I would go on like long runs of upwards of like 10 miles when I was in high school. Like Saturdays, I would, just go out and I'd be running for like an hour and a half. Um, and it was funny because I would actually do that and then I would go and train at the gym after. Like I was just like nonstop. doing it. So
Mhm.
I feel like honestly back from when I was doing that has helped a lot now, just in terms of like my endurance and like my grit. Like I
Yeah.
did hard things and like that kind of stays with you as you keep doing any kind of sport. But yeah, I mean, definitely a huge difference between the running and the weightlifting, like the muscles being used and like the fatigue that you're under when you're, under a weight versus the muscles that are being used when you're running. Um, so like for a while I did kind of both. I was running and doing the strength sports and I didn't realize like how much that was like not great to be doing both at the same time.
Yeah.
A little tough. A little tough.
Honestly, also to have, like, the energy of a high school student right now.
Yeah.
I was just telling Mandy,
Like,
like, I'm so
literally.
tired.
I know, I think about
Literally.
I'm like, I feel like I can't run more than like 3 miles now, and I'm like, how did I ever run, like there were times I ran like 20 miles. I'm like, I can't even like fathom doing that again.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
It really is crazy. I think, yeah, man. I mean, I think everybody as you get older, you're like, how do I get that energy back? How do I get that
Yeah.
stamina back? I think one of the other things that was cool that you mentioned is you competed so quickly when you
Mhm.
tried powerlifting. Was that your idea, the gym owners? Like, where did that kind of come from for you to kind of try the sport and just jump into a competition so fast?
Honestly, I think like so the owners, I became very close with them. Like they almost became like a second set of parents to me.
Mhm.
So it was awesome how that all worked. But I think like I shared how I was so competitive in high school and like I was upset that like in track I was like not good enough to be at state and I guess
Mhm.
they had realized like that I was capable of good things and powerlifting. And so I feel like they kind of like pushed me and then I think it was after that first meet like we all realized like wow, like I am really good at this and I have a lot of potential in this sport. So I guess I kind of developed like that confidence. So like I wanted to keep going, but I had people there who were also like believing in me and like pushing me. Um, so it was kind of cool. It was, a mixture of just being in that good community and then also developing that confidence in myself that I can be good
Mhm.
at something.
So for that first powerlifting meet, was it just like, "Oh, it's coming up, like, I think you should just, like, sign up," like your coaches kinda mentioned it?
Yeah, but I wasn't really sure how the whole powerlifting thing even worked.
Sure.
Like I was like, I didn't even know how the meets worked that you get like the three
Yeah.
attempts up until like, a couple weeks before we were gonna go, we were practicing commands. And I don't know if it was just like the gym owner, he wanted me to qualify for state, so he, must have like researched what are some meets around the
Okay.
area that can qualify for that.
Oh, right, right,
Um,
right. Yeah.
yeah, and I even did like a little weight cut, which I had never even known about up until that moment, like that, oh, I have to weigh in and be a certain weight for it. So like on the way to that meet, I'm like spitting in like a Gatorade bottle and like sucking on Jolly Ranchers. I'm like, this is so weird. Like I haven't ever heard of something like this.
Yeah. They're like, let's just go to the opposite end, but then go all in. I
Yep.
love that though. That's so fun. I feel like coming from track to powerlifting, the thing that you had going for you also is you're used to a long day when it comes to competitions, right? Because sometimes powerlifting, like, it's a long day, track is too. So I feel like you're kind of ready for the long day of a powerlifting meet because they're
Yeah.
not the shortest
Yep.
competitions.
For sure. And honestly, like I kind of enjoyed like the powerlifting vibe more of like it was, I guess, more independent versus like, I mean, track is
Mhm.
still an independent sport, but like compared to like volleyball or the basketball where it's like that team emphasis, like I kind of liked that like the pressure was all on me in a
Mhm.
way.
Mhm.
So I grew to like that, and now doing strongman, it's very similar to that too.
Yeah.
So how did you, like, eventually pivot to strongman now?
So funny enough, I was doing powerlifting. I did the state meet. I probably did another somewhat local meet that summer after I graduated. And then I went to college and I got accepted onto the cross country and track team at college because I was still good at like running. I was better at powerlifting, but there wasn't a
Sure.
powerlifting team that I knew of at college I was going to. So that summer I transitioned back to more running and, more running workouts. And then I was doing cross country, indoor track and outdoor track at college. Um, And then I did that for like a year and a half, 2 years, and I really started like missing the weightlifting part of it. So I'm like,
Uh-huh.
well, I used
Mhm.
to do both together. Like, why don't I just try like lifting again and like keep doing the competitive running? And so somewhere in the mix, I even did a marathon. I
Oh my gosh.
I was running like on the weekends. I'd go back home, and my high school cross country coach was like training for a marathon, so I would go on her long runs with her. And one day we got up to like 22 miles, and she's like, "Why don't you just sign up for the marathon with me?" I'm like, "Okay, I guess like it won't hurt my run, like my cross country and track that bad. Like I'll just do it."
Uh-huh.
So I ended up like doing a marathon with her, which honestly was the hardest thing in my whole life. Like anything that I've done now, like I say, the marathon was harder than anything I've done. That's the whole experience we
Yeah.
can touch on if we want. But so I did the marathon, and then went back to, I don't know if I was in like track season or what. But I was just kind of starting to get like that feeling that I got in high school. Like I'm like feel like I'm not at the top, and like I didn't like that. Like I was like, I
Mhm.
felt like I was better at powerlifting. And that's really when I realized like I can't really be great at both. Like it was my body was just breaking down. Um and so I ended up talking to my coaches for cross country and track, and I'm like, "Hey, like I feel like this like I'm not as passionate as I want to be, and like I feel like I'm more passionate with weightlifting." So I ended up like dropping from the cross country and track team. It was like my last year of college. And I went back to powerlifting, and I met some good people at the gym. I went to a couple different gyms around the area. And so moving forward, there's a gap of time. I ended up going to like basic training, and I joined the Air Force and stuff. So I got back from all of that, and then I ended up meeting my now fiance at a different gym in Appleton, and we started talking, and he did strongman and I was doing powerlifting, and I still hadn't even known that strongman was a sport until I met
Uh-huh.
him. And he's the one that like introduced me to it and taught me of the strongman Saturday thing where they do strongman training on Saturdays.
Uh-huh.
So he invited me to go with him to a gym that I hadn't ever been to. And as soon as I like learned like log press, and I think he had me do a yoke carry and some sandbag loading, I was like, this is what I want. Like this is combining, like I felt like my running and like the powerlifting, like it was exactly what I had wanted, and I
Yeah.
hadn't even known about it.
Yeah. That's so cool. One, you just like decided to do a marathon. That's insane. Like that's crazy. I love whenever we have people on this podcast and they kind of do insane things, it's usually like they just like say this thing and keep going. And I'm like, no, wait, that's actually fucking crazy that you just like decided randomly to do a marathon is
Yeah,
crazy.
it was crazy. And I had worked up to 22 miles in training. Like it felt easy. It was like a very easy run. Like we talked the whole time, me and my high school cross country coach.
It's like, what's another
And so
four
then
miles, right?
the day of the marathon, I was ready. I had, my fuel, the little gel packs and stuff, and we're going. And her goal was to qualify for the Boston Marathon. I'm like, okay, like we'll see what we can do. And so we're running, and we get to like mile, I don't know, 13 or 14. And like I had such a bad side stitch in my stomach. Like I was like, I need you to just keep going. Like I don't want to end up like not having you get your qualifying time. So I told her to keep running, and I was just going to kind of slow down a bit. And I kept going, and I was taking like all the Gatorade cups at every, like they had them every mile mark. And get to like 18 or 20 miles in, and I'm like in the porta potties with diarrhea, and like it was just horrendous. And I'm like, I'm gonna finish it. Like I committed to doing this thing. And so I'm running 22 miles, and I'm like crying and taking like just cups of pickle juice from random people, and like popping ibuprofen that I didn't even know if it was ibuprofen. Like it was just terrible. And I end up
Just taking
finishing the
pickle juice and
race, and
pills on
like
the street.
I still had like I ended up running it in like, I don't know, 3 hours and 40 minutes, which is still like impressive. But I ended up in the medical tent, and I like woke up, and I'm like, I didn't even know where I was. Like, I'm like, what is happening?
That's insane. That's so
That's
crazy. I mean,
crazy.
like you read all about the experience of a marathon. Like, listen, the only way you'd find me at that mile marker 13 is because I'm standing there holding a sign for someone. Like, let's be real. Um, I love that you're like, I think it was ibuprofen, just taking
I
like random things from people on the street.
I was so desperate to get through that, like, it was awful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It's funny how that like environment change, right? Because you were saying how, the 22 miles while you're like on a random day running with your cross country coach felt like an easy run. But then on that day, like the environment change, whatever else change. And then, of course, like 4 more miles too. Like that's a drastic change in how you felt throughout that process, you know?
Yeah, and of course, the course, it was in, like, Duluth, Minnesota was where the marathon was,
Mhm.
and right at, like, the end, like, I don't know if it was mile 24, they have, like, this little overpass that's, like, a little hill you have to run up, and it's like, I have run around 24 miles, the last thing I wanna do is run it on an incline, like,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
whoever invented that, I'm like, "This is terrible."
Just should have gone on the other end of the race. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
But I
It's
have
just
to
so
say, I
insane.
am so proud of myself for getting through that because now I can look back and I'm like, "Hey, I ran a marathon."
I did
Like
that
Hell
and
yeah.
taken pickle juice and pills from strangers at the same time.
I know.
My
Like, who
goodness.
needs a rave when you can run a marathon? That's what it
right.
sounded like. Literally, like, just a party. Crazy. I'll stick with my raves as a child.
Oh, jeez.
That was insane. I'm glad we talked about that more because I was like, she just fucking ran a marathon and like on a whim. I also love that you tried out strongman and that you met somebody who did it and then like didn't know it was a sport. Um, because it does kind of like if you don't really know, like I think all strength sports kind of fit into that category, right? Where like people often, they think of like, oh, weightlifting is like when you go to the gym and lift weights. They don't think of like, no, there are actual strength sports of weightlifting, powerlifting, strongman, and they're all very different
Mhm.
sports with very
Mhm.
different types of competition and very different training too. But it's so interesting that you kind of like just discovered each of those worlds like in this sequence. It's really cool, you know?
Yeah, no, it's fun to think back too because at the first powerlifting gym I was at, like, I remember they had, like, a yoke carry and there were, like, farmer's handles and,
Yeah,
like, a
yeah.
log, and I hadn't even, I didn't even think of them, and now that I do strongman, I know what those are. I'm like, "Oh," like, it was right in front of me, like, because I would have done strongman early on if I had known about it.
Yeah, absolutely. What was it? So obviously you were just immediately like attracted to strongman or like it was like putting everything together. What was it like shifting your training? Were you immediately like, okay, how do I compete in this? What do I do next? Or like what was that transition like for you?
Um, so I mean, training wise, you still emphasize, building like your deadlift and your squat. Obviously, strongman, you have overhead press compared to like a bench press. So implementing more of the overhead press became, during the week. But event wise, generally that would just land on like that Saturday training day. Um, so training, it wasn't, completely different, but incorporating, like, the overhead and then that event day did vary from what you were doing with powerlifting.
Yeah. So when did you do your first strongman competition? When did you start competing?
It would have been I think I did, like, my first strongman Saturday, perhaps it was in, like, February, and then my first competition was June of that year. So a couple months
She
of
moves fast.
training.
She moves
Yep.
very
She moves
fast.
so fast.
Yeah, and the first competition honestly was so fun, like I mentioned earlier, like, I'm so competitive, so I was, like, fueling right off, like, the energy of the crowd and, like, like,
Absolutely.
"Ooh, like, I wanna see what this person is gonna hit for their overhead." I think it was, like, a max overhead log was at the first competition,
Mhm.
um, and so that was a lot of fun, um and I think they had, like, an Atlas stone to shoulder. So, like, I got to, like, test out some things that I've never done before, and it was super fun learning it for the first time, and
hmm
then actually getting to compete was phenomenal. Like, I fell even more in love with the sport after competing at the first show.
Yeah. I feel like strongman's so cool because there's so many implements, right? So like it's such a variety of things. Like You're talking to two weightlifters. We do a total of 2 frickin' movements forever till we die, like,
Yeah.
obviously, there's other things in training, but, like, I always strongman is my favorite strength sport to observe outside of my own sport. Um, like, I would love to go to World's Strongest Man. Like,
Yeah,
can we just do, like, a group field trip? I just think it would
right?
be so cool to see it, but all the implements are so cool. Um what was it like getting I guess just, like, getting to do, like, all of the things? Like, in my head, strongman, you get to do, like, all of the things. Like you said, yoke carries, farmer's handles, like, atlas stones, got, like, the who's fall stone. Like, there's so
hmm
many things, Like, I think that just seems so fun.
Yeah, no, because with strongman, I mean, even if you think of like a deadlift, like all the deadlift variations can vary competition to competition. You can be on an axle bar, you could be on a deadlift bar, you could be on like an elephant bar. So even that, like, no competition is gonna look the same as the previous competition that you've done. Like, yeah, there
Mhm.
will be overlap, but exact event wise, every competition is gonna be different.
Yeah.
And yeah, with that, I feel like you kind of develop the events that you like, and then there's events that you're like, well, I don't really need to train that because I'm gonna not sign up for shows that have that event in it.
I was gonna ask that, like, how do you sign up for show I was gonna ask, like, do you sign up for shows that only have, like, the shit you like in it? Or how do you prep when it's always gonna be a different variation? Like, what does that look like for you in your training for competition?
Yeah, so I mean, like the first show that I did, it was like a very local, it was like all the women competed in one category. It was like an unsanctioned meet.
Mhm.
And then
Yeah.
after that, like my first year in the sport, I competed a lot just at local shows just to kind of get the experience under my belt. So at that time I hadn't, I never really looked into like, oh, I don't want to train circus dumbbells. I'm not going to do that show. Like I signed up for shows and took
Did whatever.
the knowledge from all the people around me and you know, form probably wasn't perfect, but I was able to get through all the competitions. It wasn't until, like, a year and a half into the sport when I did an online qualifier for my first, like, pro level show, and that was in the UK, it was the Chaos Classic, um,
Okay.
and so that was, like, my first high level pro show, and it was actually, like, the heaviest show for I compete in, like, the under 64 kg women's class, and so it's, like, the heaviest show that they ever had for that weight category, and so that was, like, my first pro show, so to speak. So that was quite an experience, but it was cool, like, getting to compete with people who have been in sport for so long, and, like, me, I was not even 2 years into it.
Yeah.
So it was kinda cool just to, like, learn from all the other girls who have been doing it for a while.
Mhm.
Um, and then, yeah, after that, it was kind of, I enjoyed competing at the high level to, like, be with the best of the best. So even with those shows, I wasn't necessarily, like, picking them due to events. It was more like, where are the shows that are gonna have these top level females at?
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
that's kind of how I picked out the competitions I was going to do.
Yeah. Can you tell people because, strongman is a sport that probably we have like the fewest listeners that do strongman. Can you kind of describe the levels so that people understand the difference between like the amateur, the pro levels? Like what does that actually mean in strongman?
Yeah, so you have like your local shows, and a lot of those they could be unsanctioned, which means there's no like federation involved. It's just like a promoter is putting on the show, and they're not, sanctioning with like there's federations that are called like USS, which is like United States Strongman. There are like Strongman Corp competitions. So those are the two main ones in the US. And then you also have like it's called OSG or Official Strongman Games, and that's similar to World's Strongest Man, but it's allowing for weight classes to be like involved. Um, so they have specific weight classes, then you have to make weight, and then you're
Mhm.
competing with those people in the weight classes. So OSG is some people would say like the highest level that a weight class athlete could make it to. And then there are other federations like Pro Strongman League, which is also a very high level competition. They also have Natural Strongman, so that's for individuals who are tested. because a lot of the other federations, there's people that take steroids or, anabolic
Mhm.
enhancements. But Natural Strongman is a federation that everyone is clean in that federation. So there's different ways that you can compete, and you can kind of pick and choose, which route you want to go with it.
Yeah.
So
Ho
I was gonna ask, so let's say I wanna dilly-dally and try this out because I'm one of those people. Like,
I
what would you
know. I'm like, "Do
recommend?
it."
Well, yeah, because it's like I still want to try powerlifting competition. So what do you recommend? Like, if I haven't, okay, if I can find a gym to train a little bit, but I'm not ready to go like all in yet, like what kind of like local competition should I be looking out for?
So with that, I would recommend doing like a local show, and a lot of them will be sanctioned. So
Mhm.
there's a website called Iron Podium, and they show like all the different competitions in every state. So like you can go
Okay.
on Iron Podium and you could, see competitions in Wisconsin or Colorado or Idaho, wherever you are, and like they show like the dates that they are at.
Yeah.
Um, and so yeah, a lot of those, like I said, are like USS or Strongman
Mhm.
Corp. And so with a lot of those too, you can end up making it to the national level if you're like top 3 at the competition. So like you can
Okay.
still make it to high levels just by doing a local show.
Sure.
You
Okay.
can do,
Good to
the
know.
one at Unit. Do the one at
I
Unit,
know.
Wanda.
But I don't train the movements. I don't wanna. What is the one at unit?
I don't remember off the top of my head. There's one we literally just interviewed somebody who owns a gym in Illinois, and they host like all types of competitions, and they have a strongman competition coming up. It's in the summer sometime, so I feel like I don't know if it's unless you start your dabbling soon.
I still gotta train for a 10K
Hey, you
this
can do
summer.
both at the same time.
I know. I know. I literally have no
Sarah's like, do
excuse.
a marathon.
I literally have no excuse. But okay, good to know. And I feel okay. So Claire is like our first strongman guest. So it's like
Oh, cool.
I think we need to
Second,
like set.
yeah,
Oh, like with
technically
Jess.
second. First, like legit, like
Like
you'd be the highest level competitor so far for
yeah,
sure.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
But yeah, like just trying to understand like baseline, like intro to strongman, because like I know some strongman athletes, but we've never like I don't know, had like a full on conversation about the sport, just strictly about strongman. So it's like I just need to like kind of get uh the playing field, like understand where everything's at.
yeah.
I don't know
I
metaphors, sorry.
No, I feel like that's good. I feel like the other question that I would like tie to what Wanda's asking is if somebody wanted to dabble, like if somebody wanted to try some stuff out, like what would you suggest them trying? Like if you had to suggest like here's a couple movements, like if you think you might be interested in strongman, like try these couple things out to see if like they seem fun to you. I used to manage a CrossFit gym and there was a strongman team that trained inside there. So then like randomly I would like jump in and do stuff with them, which was fun. And some things were easy. And then some things like I have midget arms. So like that's really hard for me to hold stuff.
Hmm.
So like what would you recommend? Like if Wanda wants to go into somewhere and train and start trying stuff out, like what should she try first? Or like what should she start with?
Yeah, so generally a strongman competition, you are going to have like an overhead event. So whether that's a log press, or like an axle press, sometimes there's a circus dumbbell. So I would say get familiar with like a log press would be like the top
Mm-hmm.
thing because log can carry over to the other overhead events.
Mm-hmm.
And then generally there's always some kind of deadlift event. So I would just say get comfortable doing a deadlift. And they don't allow sumo deadlifts. So powerlifters who are looking to transition over, they cannot bring sumo over to strongman.
Yeah. I feel like Cosmo wants to give a statement. Cosmo. um I feel like I've also heard that being in Olympic weightlifting, just being very comfortable overhead, like in the jerk, like it translates very well to like the overhead stuff for strongman. And then I have a pretty strong deadlift anyway. I just hurt myself last time. I
Oh,
was hesitant. Oh my gosh. Yeah, but we're on the road to recovery. So
Yeah,
it's
and like
okay.
the cool thing with strongman is I feel like there is a ton of carryover that can come from like
Mhm.
Olympic weightlifting. So like I have taught myself how to do like a split jerk, but like
Mhm.
I in no way could ever do it like Olympic weightlifting standards. Like it's definitely like kind of a muscly split jerk.
Yeah, yeah.
But if you do have that background, it definitely carries over a lot to like the overhead events, like just being more efficient and like getting, more weight over your head easier than if you're trying to like strict press or push press the weight up.
Mhm. Mhm.
And then generally at a competition, there would be some kind of grip event, whether it's like a farmer's handle or they do like a Hercules hold, something that tests like grip strength. And then generally there's some kind of either like a loading event. So there's like sandbag loading or like an Atlas stone load. Or they incorporate like a sandbag, you like pick it up and you carry it and you could have to carry it as far as you can, or perhaps
Mhm.
you have like 50 feet down and back and you do it as quick as you can. So being able to move with weight is super important in strongman. And then being able to like load weight as well.
Okay. I feel like okay, I could totally do this, but I think my concern is there so in competition, is there like so like in CrossFit, it's like you have your prescribed RX weight and there's like the scaled weight. Is there like a similar like baseline weight that like everyone has to like hit the standard of before you build up, or how does that work?
So even that's kind of different with strongman. Like every competition
Okay.
can vary. Some competitions, so for example, like a deadlift, they might have a set weight. So you might have like a 300-pound deadlift for your weight class, and like it would be as many reps as you can get. But at a different competition, you might have where you get 3 attempts and you try to like you pick what you want for your attempts, and it might be whoever can lift the most amount of weight.
Okay.
There could be like two different bars and there's a light one and a heavy one, and you can pick which one you do, but any reps at the heavy one beats any reps at the light one.
Mhm.
So it can vary,
Hmm.
every competition. The promoters have their own goofy way of how they wanna do points. So
Yeah. Mandy, I will say I love doing these podcasts because it's like, man, I can do this. I could like try all these things. Uh
I I'm over here sitting here. I'm just sitting here thinking like how soon will Wanda just sign up for one of these competitions? Like in my head, like you won't even train, you'll just sign up. Cause I'm like, well, Grip, she does climbing, she can deadlift, like, you know how to jerk and get something overhead. I'm like,
yeah.
she should just do it
I would
on a
I
whim,
would
like
say
the
just dive
marathon.
in. I mean, take a couple of weeks of training, learn the commands and like the movement, and if
Okay.
anyone has any, desire to do it, I highly recommend like don't wait till you feel ready. Like I feel like that's like
Yeah. You're literally preaching to like a lot of like coaches because they're like put like their youth athletes are like new weightlifters, let's just say. It's like all these weightlifters just like, oh, I feel like I need to be stronger first. But it's like, no, like get them in scared and just like get a feel for just the training environment. And it's like eventually they'll get hooked. And like, I just need to bite the bullet. You're so right. You're so right.
Wanda is the queen of dabbling, so I cannot wait to go cheer you on at a strongman competition sometime soon. So fun. My question, just as like a coach and also someone who has run a lot of events, so they kind of do whatever they want, right? So like in the planning, you're saying there's just like so much variation, which is really cool. But at the same time, I guess I'm curious, like, how does that work when it comes to standards, right? So, like, you're competing at pro shows and doing different things. So, like, how does that work when it comes to like a standard of strength or standard of execution for certain movements, or how to like, get yourself to an elite level when every competition could literally be all this different stuff? Like, how do you measure? You know what I mean? Because like if you pick only the competitions of like the shit you're good at and then get to a point, like how does that work?
yeah, I mean, promoting side is kind of a different view than being like an athlete and looking in. But coming, I'm going to be promoting my first show this coming June, and there are like set standards like like your deadlift, like you have to make sure, like, in your rules for the athletes, like, you're explaining, you know, you can't do sumo or your hands, you have to keep all fingertips touching the bar. Like, basically, you're responsible to include all of the rules because if you don't mention it, the athlete technically could come back and say, well, that wasn't in the rules. Um,
Mhm.
and like event wise, I guess I don't really know if like generally, I guess I would think you would have to have some kind of overhead deadlifts. Um, I don't know that they have like a set structure. Like you could have a fun competition where it's like all overhead events, but I don't know if you would be allowed to have that show like qualify someone for nationals.
Mhm.
Because if they
Yeah.
got to nationals and they were expecting everything to be overhead, it's not. Like a
Yeah.
nationals competition is going to have your range of different events at it. Um,
Yeah.
so I guess, you would want to make sure that you do include what most competitions have, but you can add your own little twist to it.
Yeah, for sure. It's just interesting, like, it almost reminds me, like, slightly of, like, CrossFit in that you can pretty much put anything in a
Yeah.
competition, but at the end of the day, like, there has to be some general standards for somebody to, like, get to a certain level, like, it's just really, again, interesting to think about when we currently Wanda and I, or Wanda most of the time when she's not traveling, are participating in such a cut and dry sport, which like we
Yeah.
can go to battle on like the press out rule and different things, but like a very cut Olympic weightlifting is a very cut and dry sport as to like what standards are, what world standards are. There's only
Yeah.
two movements. So like there's
Yeah.
it's less to kind of judge, you know. So I just find it really interesting when there's such a plethora of movements, like how you judge and set standards for those types of things.
Yeah. I will say, like, thinking back with strongman, so like for example, your deadlift, like they aren't strict in terms of like powerlifting where like you can't hitch. Like basically, if you can get the weight up and you're
Mhm.
not like doing a sumo deadlift pull, like they allow it. Like however you get that weight up, like as long as for the overhead you get that weight over your head, like they count it. So it's a lot more, I guess you could say like a lot more relaxed in terms of like powerlifting, or I'm
Mhm.
not too familiar with like Olympic weightlifting, but they kind of allow the athletes, like, however it takes you to get the weight up, like, that's all that they want.
Mhm.
Mhm. Yeah, that's so cool. What do you feel like your I guess just like more your like mental journey has been as you've kind of like traversed all of these sports, right? Like you're very competitive. You've always been very competitive. You're the type of person who does a marathon on a whim. So, like, it's not that you haven't always been, gritty and competitive, but as you've kind of gone, from running to powerlifting to strongman, what has that kind of like mental and emotional journey been like for you?
Um, I will say, like, strongman wise, I get very in my head, especially if I'm in prep for a high level competition.
Mhm.
Like, I'm one who I definitely compare myself to like my competition way more than I should. Like,
Mhm.
I generally will have to like ground myself and be like, I am doing this for fun and I need to stop worrying about what other people are doing because that makes it
Yeah.
not fun for me. So there's definitely been some competitions I've done that like the whole prep, 4 weeks before the competition, like I'm already just like mentally destroying myself, like, and don't even want to compete. So
Mhm.
it takes like a lot of just kind of, I guess, resurfacing myself and being like, I am still doing this for fun. Like this is not my career. Like this is a hobby and it's a hobby I'm paying to do. Like,
Right.
why am I
Yeah.
not having it be fun? Um, and so I'm still working on that. And like, even at competitions, like I get so nervous and like, I think I just have this high standard of myself that like I want to do so well that like I sometimes forget like I still need to have fun while I'm doing it. And like,
Mhm.
it's not life or death if I don't hit a certain number or if I don't beat a certain person. So mental wise with that, it's definitely a learning journey for me.
Yeah.
There'll
Mhm.
be days I'm at the gym and like I miss, a sandbag rep or something and I'm just like off crying, or my fiance, he coaches me and I'm just like, go away, like I don't even want you to talk to me right now. Like so it's It's good though. Like I feel like I'm starting to grow in a good way with that mentally, compared to where I started.
Mhm. Yeah. Do you have, like so say you're in a competition and you're starting to feel really anxious or you're second guessing yourself. Do you have, like, specific things that you do or things you tell yourself or, like, specific techniques that you kind of rely on in order to kind of bring yourself back?
Yeah, it was actually I was in prep for it was last year for the Natural Worlds competition in Ireland, and I was working with like a sports psychologist. Um, and so she kind of taught me some different things, basically, you know, you can do like your breathing and just kind of like get yourself in more of like a calm state before you go out and actually compete. Which it doesn't work for every person because some people like to be like all amped up and stuff right before they go out. For me, I like to kind of get a little bit more relaxed because if I'm like already amped up and then I'm nervous, I just feel like I kind of fumble with what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then after like certain events, if something didn't go well, like I'd allow myself like 2 minutes to like be mad, be upset, and then you need to move on. Because the
Mhm.
cool thing in strongman is you don't need to win every single event in order to win the competition. Like
Right.
you can get third, fourth, you could even do terrible in one event, but come back strong in all the other ones, and you could still win the competition. So
Mhm.
like learning to not let one event like ruin the rest of the competition is something that's helped a lot too.
Mhm. Yeah, that's cool. So then you're competing in literally everything in life, and then you decide, "Hey, let's open a gym." How how did the like, ho this is a new venture now, but, like, how did the gym come about?
Yeah, so my fiance and I, we created a gym in our garage to start with. And we have like an alleyway, which ended up working out perfect for like in the summertime, we could like carry a
Mhm.
yoke out there and we'd
Yeah,
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 have
yeah.
yeah.
like a long enough stretch to like do like yoke carries or farmers carry. And so, we bought a bunch of gym equipment through the year. And then in the summer, we would have people come over on Saturdays and we would have strongman training as a group. And then winter time, it would end up being like super cold. Like our garage wasn't insulated. So we'd like have the propane heaters out there and like you'd have to turn them on 30 minutes before your workout. And like you'd
Yeah.
still go out there and it's like all the bars are freezing cold. And
Right.
winter is kind of did not work out well with training in the garage. So often we would go and get like a gym membership at different gyms around the area just for like the winter. Um, and so now looking back, like this past summer, we were like, well, like let's insulate the garage that way this winter won't be so bad. And so my fiance and some friends worked on that. And one day my dad like messaged me and he's like, "Hey, I ran into this guy at Menards today and he told me he's got some gym equipment for sale and I know that you're into like fitness stuff. And so why don't you reach out to him?" And I ended up reaching out to this guy and I found out he was like an athletic director at a high school and they were clearing out their whole weight room because they got a grant for all new equipment. And I'm like, "Whoa,
What
wait
a
a second."
find.
Like, I saw
Yeah.
all the stuff. It's like vintage Nautilus machines and like commercial grade racks and dumbbells up to 100. And I'm like, "Oh my gosh." And then he told me, because I'm like, I showed my fiance Brandon, I'm like, "Hey, like this is enough to open a gym." And like, we always had the goal down the road of opening a gym, but it wasn't anything like in the near future. And we found out like how good of a deal he was gonna give us and all this equipment. And I'm like, we can't pass this up. Like,
Yeah.
we need to just go ahead and do it. So I ended up, committing to buying all the equipment. And then we were like, okay, well, now where are we gonna store all of the equipment? Because we obviously don't have room in our garage.
Yeah.
And so we were like looking at different places online and everything was just so darn expensive. And so then we started looking at like storage units and our neighbor was like, "Well, why don't you guys rent that place next door to you?" And we're like, "What are you even talking about?" And it used to be like a railway station. It's this big building that was for rent and it's literally right next door to where we live. And we like checked it out and we're like, this would be perfect for a gym. And so it was all within like that week. Like we bought the gym equipment, we checked out the place next door to us, and we started moving things in. We signed the lease, and so over the fall and winter, we got all the equipment moved in. We like revamped the whole building. We painted it, and got everything all set. And we just opened up in January. And it's like a private strongman gym. We're not looking to make it like a YMCA or, like a big
Yeah.
name gym. It's more of like a community. Like
Yeah.
we want a space for us to train and like for like all of our friends to train. We have some like neighbors who live nearby and they're like, we prefer this over like a packed gym at 5 p.m. Like here they have a gym where we have, like 15, 20 members, and then Saturdays we have quite a few that come out. But yeah, it's pretty awesome how it all happened like at one time.
Dude, shout out to your
Yeah.
dad for
I know.
being Midwest nice and
I know,
hitting
Yes.
up
like that's
strange
just how he
people.
is. Like he went up to this guy, he like recognized him from like an auction or something, and the guy's like buying
Okay.
ratchet straps, and my dad's like, "Oh, what are you buying ratchet straps for?" And the guy then told him he had the gym equipment for sale. Like I'm like, who would have thought like how this could all happen?
Yeah.
And in a Menards. That's like the most Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Like, it's so perfect. And like, what a find. Like, being able to like swap that equipment when a school gets a new grant is literally like the best find ever.
Yeah.
Like, what a find.
Yeah.
So I know you want to create kind of like a community. You said you have like 12 to 15 members now. Like, what are you kind of hoping for, like, for the future of the gym? You know what I mean? Like, you guys just opened in January, so you're not even at 6 months yet. Um, what is the plan? What's the hope, you know?
Yeah. So, I mean, right now, like our main goal is get the bills paid, get the rent paid with our members, which Brandon, my fiance, he does a lot of coaching. And he actually just got like a great coaching opportunity with this other high level coach. So that definitely helps. Brandon coaches me too. So like it's nice having his knowledge, and like he's super willing to like help anybody who comes into the gym, like if they have a question on anything related to working out or, strongman specifically, like he is very much like willing to help. And I feel like that's what attracts like a lot of our local community in is like we have so many people that come on Saturdays, and it's just like that community feel and like that welcoming, like we're all here to like help each other get better.
Hmm.
But big picture wise for the gym, like this place is great right now, and like having it right next door to where we live, like you can't really beat that.
Right.
But down the road, like we would like to get like a bigger location, kind of expand a little bit, maybe reach out to a couple different populations more than just like strongman. Um, but yeah, for now, I mean, we're gonna promote our first show, so we'll see how that goes. And then yeah, it'll just kind of be, whatever happens, happens, and
Yeah. What made you decide to do the first show? Not everybody that owns a gym wants to like host events also. So what was kind of the instigator for that?
yeah, so super cool actually how it worked out. The show that we're promoting is the first strongman show that I ever competed in. It's in Fond du Lac in Wisconsin, and it's during like a big walleye weekend festival. And so my first strongman competition, that was the show. And so the people who were promoting it before us, um, they reached out to us. They heard that we were, opening a gym and were super invested in the strongman community and like growing it. And so they're like, hey, like we're kind of getting like burnt out of promoting the show. Like they did it for 8 years or so. And they're like, we would love to pass it on to like younger,
Mhm.
more energetic people who, have a drive to keep growing the sport. So they asked us if we would take it over. And we were like, absolutely. And we're fortunate that we have like a good friend who also promotes like pretty high level shows here in Wisconsin, and like he
Okay.
was super willing to help us out with a lot of logistic stuff. And yeah, so we're
That's
excited
so
for it.
cool.
When's the show?
It's June 13th.
Okay. Maybe I'll take a trip up.
I was gonna
Just come hang
say, I
out.
was like, wait, Wanda, when are you gonna be doing your competition now?
Oh, like the strongman competition? Or like
Yeah,
weightlifting?
maybe strongman. I'm talking
It's
about your new
so the
venture, your new
so
dabble.
the 13th is a month away from my power or my weightlifting meet next week. So,
Mm.
but I just signed up for one July 11th, so I guess I can do can I do back to back like 1 month out each? Why
That's
not,
Sure.
my
right?
first one I did. It was like a month out. I did my second one, and then a couple months later, I did my third one. So, I
It's
mean,
all for fun anyway. We're just
right?
here to have fun.
And like you
Listen,
can meet so
here
many cool people through it. Like, I
I
love strongman
know.
competitions.
Okay,
Like,
because
it's
like
such a good community.
Mandy and I, obviously you're like our first like strongman competitor. Like we're trying to expand and just like be more proactive in getting more like strongman, strong women, powerlifters on our podcast. But it's hard because it's like that's not our community. So we're trying
Mhm.
our best here. But maybe if I become part of the community, it'll be a little easier.
That it's for the podcast,
It's
Wanda,
for the
that you have to
podcast.
do all of the sports. You have to do all of the sports. We'll make it's part of your job description
Oh
here.
my God, I know.
Well, we
That's
welcome
amazing.
everyone, whether you're a weightlifter or a power lifter. It's a very welcoming community. And like the more
Yeah.
females we can get in, like I am all for that.
Yeah. Oh, I do want to ask one more question before we move on. So obviously you were introduced by your fiance to the sport, but like how have you now like convinced other women to participate and like how big is that community where you are at your gym or even just like before you even like opened up your garage gym?
Yeah. So it's cool because we like one of our members, she just lives around the area and like she has never done strongman before.
Mm-hmm.
And so for her, for example, she came in and like saw us all training strongman and like she said right out, she's like, this is like so motivating. Like I want to be involved. Like I see you lifting these
Yeah.
heavy, sandbags or whatever. And she's like it's so motivating like seeing other people do it.
Mm-hmm.
And so like you know, I guess like people seeing me like do hard things, especially like females, and like I'm very much like if they're watching me do it, I'm like, hey, like, do you want to like learn how to do this? Like we have a light bag that you can start with. So like I'm very much like I encourage people to come and try it out if they have any interest in it at all. So we have gotten quite a few of our members to like kind of dabble into the strongman, and a lot of
Mm-hmm.
them are signed up for our competition coming up.
Oh,
So
yay.
it's cool, and like I try to reach out to a lot of the females around this area too. I'm like honestly like the more we can get in one area, like it makes training so much more fun. It's
Yeah.
like motivating seeing females doing strong things.
Yeah.
Um,
The girls just
so
want to
yeah,
hang out
I
anyway.
yeah
It's just like girl time.
yeah we
So
definitely need
fun.
more females in the sport because like especially like around here like there's not a ton, and so
Yeah.
like it would be nice like having like a group of like pretty close competitive
Mm-hmm.
females just because it kind of gives you like that push because then when you go to a competition you're not really used to like having the females that are all like so strong and like
Yeah.
competitive. So
Yeah.
it'd be nice to like have that more in training. But I sometimes go up against some of the guys, which helps too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. That's so cool. Yeah, hopefully more and more people will find it. And also you guys having that gym like specifically for that should also help too. Cause I think a
Mm-hmm.
lot of times people like it's like they want to maybe dabble in something or try something, but then, sh- trying something like that out at like Crunch Fitness is very different than
Yeah.
going to somewhere where like that is the specialty and they can figure out things or ask a ton of questions and get
hmm
really good answers. Um,
Yeah, no,
I
I
think
feel like
I think that could be so cool.
if you go to like a crunch or, a different kind of gym, like you get looked at so weirdly. Like even
Yeah.
coming in with like your big gym bag, like I feel like everyone's like, what are you doing? Like
Yeah.
you don't belong here. And it kind of sucked. So like I
Yeah.
feel like that's why we are so much like emphasizing strongman here. Like we do like people will come and like check it out, just people who don't do like strongman or powerlifting. And like we warn them ahead of time. We're like, just so you know, like
Yeah.
like we do tailor more toward athletes. Like we are not opposed to you being a member here, but like just know like there are people that are going to be like grunting and yelling and like, doing heavy things, and it'll be loud, and like Saturdays are going to be packed here. Like, just like we warn them ahead of time that this isn't going to be, a gym where like people are just kind of off doing their own thing.
Right.
So,
Yeah. Well, you never know if that exposure is something that then makes them like, well, maybe I can do it too.
Yeah.
Like,
Mhm.
because it is different being, I mean, how many times do like people make joke reels out of it on Instagram all the time of like being like an athlete inside of like a Globo gym and doing like just like really untraditional things in the eyes of like, I mean, I used to carry a bar in and out every time I went to a crunch because they didn't have women's bars. And so I like took a
Yeah.
bar out of my trunk. And every time I walked into that gym, I walked in with a 15-kilo bar on my shoulder. And people thought I was real fucking weird. So,
Yeah.
I think even the exposure, right, of people coming in who are maybe more general and they're like, yeah, well, this could be cool. Like, I feel like eventually you want to try it, right? Like, if you're surrounded by it, you're
Mhm.
kind of like, well, I can probably do that too. So I feel like that could be really huge and cool.
Mhm.
Fun. Well, we are just so thankful that you were here with us today. Before we wrap up, though, Wanda has some rapid fire questions for you.
Okay.
Okay. What is your do you call it a lift? What's your favorite lift, or what's activity movement
Event? My
event?
favorite event?
Yeah.
I would probably say deadlift.
Okay. Do you have like what's the favorite place? Your most favorite place that you've traveled to for a competition?
Probably Scotland, or not Scotland. I'm going to Scotland this coming August. But I was in Ireland last year. So I'm looking
Okay.
forward to going to Scotland this year.
And then, what's your favorite training time?
It kind of depends. I'm a nurse, so I work like 12-hour days, and so if I have to get my training in on a day that I work, I come at like 4 a.m. in the morning. But if I have the freedom of coming anytime, like Saturdays generally, we start at like 9 a.m. and I feel like that's a pretty good time. Wake up,
Yeah.
get some food in.
Yeah. I feel like you living next door to your gym makes it so much easier to crawl out of
It's so
bed, walk
phenomenal.
next door, 4 a.m. And then I know you talked about it a little bit, but do you have like a pre-competition ritual before like each show?
I force feed myself to eat some pancakes that I make out of oats, cottage cheese, and egg whites.
Okay.
I'm always so nervous beforehand. And then generally just like having headphones in, get some stretching in, and then just trying to like socialize to get my mind off of actually competing for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Yeah.
last question, do you have any hidden talents?
Oh boy. It's a good question.
They're so hidden, she has to think for a second.
Yeah.
I know.
I don't know. I used to play the saxophone, if you call that
Okay.
a talent.
It's pretty good. Yeah.
Listen, I swear we're going to start a
band.
2G1B band because we keep having people on who like used to play an instrument. So at some point we're just going to like have a whole band. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
Tell people, Clara, where they can follow you, follow the gym, all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so my personal Instagram, it is yoapster.fit. So it's YOAPSTER.FIT. And then the gym page, our gym is called Larkin Strength Concepts. So Larkin, LARKIN, and then Strength Concepts. Because
That's
Larkin will be
awesome.
my soon last name. So
Yeah, that's awesome. Claire, thank you so much for
Yeah, this was
hanging
good.
out with us today. This was so awesome and so fun. And like, you're not even that far away from us. So
I
we
know.
need
yeah,
to
we'll have to
have
come
to
hang out,
plan
check out each
it.
other's gyms.
I know.
Yeah, we definitely need to hang out. So we'll plan that. Everybody, thank you for listening. Be sure to share with your friends, leave a 5-star review, join the Patreon, help us fund more scholarships for women in strength sports, and so we can help kind of like combat those barriers to entry to get more women lifting more weight. And we will see you guys next time.
Thank you.